where he will be playing the winner of Swift and Chem, our losers semis matchup coming up.
That is a matchup I'm particularly excited to see just because of how fast Chem was moving and just sort of Swift's play style in general. Obviously, like no pun intended, but he is very fast moving. He is a very kind of innovative player. And I think Chem will match that in a really interesting way. I think Fox
Yeah.
Pikachu is kind of just like a fun matchup to watch. So I'm pretty excited. I actually don't know which direction that would go. Maybe Swift would be my pick, but I don't
Yeah, it's
know.
hard to say who's like the favorite here. I think Swift is like the better known player after,
Yeah.
the performance at Summit was insane from Swift. Few players go to their first Summit and do as well as Swift did for sure. Um, but Chem is very, very underrated just on like a national scale. Chem is a really good player. And I mean, as you mentioned, both of these players extremely fast paced. So I think this will be a very fast set on both sides, pretty much regardless of the outcome. But I am curious to see how well Chem knows the Pikachu matchup specifically.
Yeah, I think the matchup will play a really big role. I also just think that like sometimes when you watch a player, like if you watch the previous set with J Flex, you look at Cam and you think this guy is unstoppable. He is moving so quickly. But then when he meets that player that's able to handle that speed, all of a sudden it's like he's not looking so fast, or he's catching him in moments where like he gets punished much harder than he previously was. So, is Swift able to rise to the occasion? And like you mentioned, Swift took Leffen to game 5. Swift took, I believe, Mango to game 5. Like there were
I think so.
sets
Yeah,
like
it was an insane run from
yeah.
Swift for sure.
Yeah, and this is a guy who's been in H box before. This is a guy who's just a rising star. So I would agree Swift is the favorite, but I think like Fox as a character, when you're feeling like really good, when you're like hitting your tech skill, you do kind of feel unstoppable. So like, and you can kind of really push it. So Chem, you can't count them out yet.
No, absolutely. I think, especially, we just saw Chem versus JFlex a minute ago, and that was
That
again
was
very
something.
one-sided in Chem's favor. So if Chem keeps that up and knows the matchup at least decently well, then could easily win this set over Swift as well.
No, absolutely. And while we're waiting, now might be a good time to bring up the merch store for the Gallant Melee Open. This is, I believe, raising money for kind of the Battle of BC event, which the first place winner of this tournament will be flown out to. And we did just see, I mentioned the merch, the posters that we've been plugging throughout this event. They look really, 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 really nice. Yeah, Battle of BC here, June 10th to 12th. I'm going to be there. We got Zane and IBW already confirmed. I think it's going to be a super fun event. So registration ends tomorrow. You want to be in there for early bird registration, rather. So definitely check that out. It's just super, super exciting to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Battle of BC has really started to come into its own as one of the definitely one of the premier tournaments in Canada. And at this point, honestly, one of the premier majors overall too. Like Battle of BC has got a pretty storied past already. I mean, there's been some significant sets that have taken place at Battle of BC in the past already. So I'm really looking forward to this next iteration as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that like this is the 4th Battle of BC, but the last one I believe was in like 2018, if not 2019, I guess. So like, quite a while ago, like it's only the 4th one, but like you said, it has a bit of a legacy. And I know the TO, Kevin Deere, the one who is running this tournament, he's the kind of guy that's like very deliberate about kind of elevating his events. We've seen with the Gallant Melee Open, each one's so great. And obviously we're headed into this game. So far, really, really good stuff from Swift, getting 61%.
Yeah, hot start from Swift. And this is interesting to me that Chem opted to strike to Fountain of Dreams. Obviously considered, I mean, especially with Axe, considered a very good Pikachu stage. And not necessarily a bad stage for Fox in the matchup, but one that I would expect most Foxes to strike against Pikachu.
I agree. Like, this is the kind of stage where we spoke earlier about how Sheik is able to capitalize on Fox's mistakes. Pikachu definitely another character that's kind of like looking for those openings and trying to kind of really carry them. And fountains, platforms, and that kind of thing, it makes it a bit harder to be consistent. Ooh, beautiful recovery, but Chem covers it anyway.
Yeah, that right there shows me that Chem has at least a solid knowledge of the Pikachu matchup. Ooh. But
right.
yeah, Swift does close that out. Full stock lead here already.
Yeah, you know, just like that, able to convert off of that up air. Such a powerful tool, and we're seeing it right now. I compared it earlier to Falco's Shine, just because it has that kind of base knockback. It can open you up at like any percent. And I feel like we see Pikachu's use it in such a creative way, even if it only gives you like 3% each time you do it.
Right. Ooh.
Okay.
Right.
Going for the back air both time, respecting that Swift's SDI on up air in particular has been quite solid, and it works out for Chem. Like, doesn't take the risk of kind of getting reversaled and still gets the kill.
Yeah, that and Swift's just DI on the up throws to begin with has been very good, so it might be tough to even try to get that second hit even without the smash DI, so just making sure he gets a solid hit with the back air.
You know, speaking of, we see the smash DI once again. I think that's a great point. So often, you know, up throw up air, one of those things that I think we're so used to seeing, it's been around for so long, that we kind of forget that it's hard, especially on certain characters. Like, if you mess up the timing even a little bit, if they DI kind of behind you, you just aren't ready for it. Like, you can kind of miss your opportunity. Like we just saw there, up throw, not the easiest thing to convert on, especially at high percents.
Yeah, and Chem has managed to bring this back to almost a full stock lead after being down a full stock a minute ago. This has been the Chem show ever since. Yeah,
kind of. This is what I was saying earlier about, like, sometimes when you're playing kind of hot as a Fox player, oh my god, I thought that was going to be it. It feels like you can do anything. Really, really good air dodge there. That was like the only thing that gets him out of that situation.
Yeah. Again, some great matchup knowledge for sure. Okay. Oh, that could have been it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Like,
again, going for the back air.
Like you said, yeah, like respecting it so hard. And take the percent if you can. Like, if you're really confident you're going to get it, you might as well just keep any advantage that you can have.
Uh-oh. Off stage. Oh, wow. The
forward air.
Returning fair of all things. Oh, but he's off stage, and that might be it. It is. Wow. What a back and forth game one, and that was only the very start of the set.
That was really close. You know, kind of ended up rooting a bit for Chem there just to kind of see him pull it back. But I really like what you were saying earlier about, like, as soon as you see Chem dealing with the recovery, you can kind of tell the matchup experience. Like, there's certain situations when you're playing a character like Pikachu that are just kind of weird. And if a person is like ready to deal with it, get a little bit of cat peeking under there.
So cute.
So cute. Yeah. I'm losing my train of thought. That really shows that you're comfortable if you're ready for kind of the scrappy situations that most people aren't.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, there's kind of a newer school of thought recently where people like getting a weak stage out of the way with you know, we've seen it a lot with potentially Foxes going FD against Marth and stuff like that, or people just not necessarily striking to the stage they actually want to play. They're just striking to a stage that that they think they have a chance on, but they want to get it out of the way regardless, right? And maybe that's what we saw there from Chem, because obviously now he won't have to deal with Fountain anymore.
I mean, I do want to shout out Turn Down for Walt for doing a video on, like, the math of IBW picking FD first, or I don't know if it was first, but like striking to it early, because I'm a believer that that's not the right call, and according to Walt, at least the math sort of suggests it wouldn't be. But I can see why a player wants, like the mentality is such a big part of this game. So if you want to play it that way and that makes you feel more confident, wow, that would have been a crazy ledge deal if you hit that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's more a mental thing than anything.
Mhm.
Even if it's like mathematically it's not correct, because I don't think mathematically it's correct, but like in terms of mindset, in terms of just getting a stage that you really don't like playing on against a certain character out of the way, then, you know, if it works for you specifically. Not that, again, it's ever the actual
We're like having to
right
qualify. Like, it's a
call.
very smart, dumb idea, you know? Like, it's just every single one. Like,
It can work out, even though it's not the right call, basically.
it's like the world's like worst car salesman. Like, it's not good, but it's very good at being not good, I guess. But
Pretty much.
speaking of not good, well, speaking of good, Swift. Yeah, I'm losing it. Swift playing pretty well. Still down a stock though. Needs to get a big opening, and Chem pushing the lead, pushing the counter pick. Pokemon Stadium, very, very solid stage for Fox in this matchup.
No, absolutely. And have to figure the FD counter pick is coming afterward. Ooh, as Chem does close that out nicely with just the raw up smash. Yeah, that one was pretty solid in Chem's favor, but obviously that is pretty much Fox's best counter pick in the matchup. So
Yeah,
we'll see how the rest plays out.
I think one thing that's a big, big factor in this matchup is the FD counter pick. Like, we talked earlier about getting stuff out of the way, and like Fountain is kind of a frustrating stage, but that chain grab is even more frustrating. We saw earlier Aklo actually opting to play Link, and you know that wasn't just BM. It's not dealing with the chain grab. It's just not having to kind of get frustrated. So this is where Swift's openings are gonna really go far, especially with SCI like that. And we're about to see it right now.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a new concept, but like I remember Ryan Ford would always have a secondary to pull out on matchups where he didn't want to have to deal with getting chain grabbed on FD, and it's kind of a solid play, honestly. I mean, people like to say it's BM from Aklo, but he frequently wins at least one of the FD games with Link as well, so it's certainly not BM, it's just a good play.
Yeah, actually, Ryan Ford, really, really good example of someone who leverages FD in an interesting way. Like, he also used the dock a lot on FD just because he likes the chain grab. So, you know, chain grab, it's part of melee. You cannot give Swift enough chances to SCI because he will get it eventually and gets the reversal. This is already 70%. He's still going. Is he going to get the stock?
Ooh, actually
really
misses
good recovery.
the dash after that up throw. If he had dashed off before doing the short hop, then probably would have been able to get the nair, but cleans it up anyway.
It's actually a really good example of a kind of recovery that's surprisingly good, which is just jumping to the ledge. Like, it sounds dumb, but like when you're below the ledge, you just kind of like get the jump, get the invincibility really quickly. Don't overcomplicate it with like an up B. And just like you said, Swift dropped that kind of one crucial opening, and it allowed Chem to keep it simple and get back to the stage.
Yeah, and Chem, if Chem manages to take this, then this is huge for Chem. Obviously, swinging the counter pick advantage back in his favor. Okay.
I feel like we are seeing the Pikachu equivalent of that Zane S-Flat clip where S-Fat goes for the up air and Zane SDIs it and then zero to deaths him immediately afterwards. Like, we have seen Swift getting the SDI so quickly, and you know, when Chem drops that, it can lead to a stock. Like, the chain grab is so powerful, and that's not all that's powerful. Look at this edge guard.
Wow, what an angle from Chem to avoid that, but still in a bad spot.
I'm amazed that he kept that going. Like, it looked like, he went for the hard call out, didn't get anything from it, but still gets the regrab and gets like another 30%. Really good stuff from Swift.
Oh, just misses that edge grab attempt with the startup of up B. That's really unfortunate for Chem there. See if he can at least take this stock and try to find some kind of way to bring this back, but it looks tough right now.
It really does. Like the kind of jabs that he's going for, but seeing Pikachu kind of spamming the crouch can make it difficult. Good stuff from Swift there. Takes the FD game. You know, kind of what was expected. It is an uphill battle. I know Chem's probably going like, it's FD, whatever. We'll keep going. So that's just kind of how you have to play it if you're a Fox player.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those things where you kind of expect to lose because of how one-sided it is, and then if you manage to take it, you feel great. But if you lose as expected, then you kind of just got to shake it off immediately because it's it's pretty one-sided when Fox can get chain grabbed as well as Pikachu can or as Marth can on FD, then it obviously makes it pretty tough to win the game.
You can see the Fox experience from Chillin right now. Just his face kind of looking off in the distance, looking a little yeah, yeah.
It's annoying. It's annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I think like the thing about it too is like even if you win in those situations, then you have to play on FD again. So you're kind of like it doesn't even really feel good. Like this goes back to the whole like doesn't make sense but kind of makes sense thing. That edge cancel was nasty. Holy crap. Gets 103% and extends it in just the most creative way. Goes for an edge cancel again but doesn't get it. Beautiful nair from Chem. And is he going to get the stock first?
He might. I'm personally just kind of confused that he opted to go back to Fountain.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a pretty bold decision to say the least. I mean, he lost game 1 on Fountain, so obviously he was comfortable enough to strike to it in the first place, but it's clearly a pretty good stage for Pikachu in the matchup, so obviously Chem must just be very comfortable with Fountain in general.
Yeah, which I think actually says a lot about Chem as a player, because I feel like the people who like Fountain are kind of people who are okay with like a little bit of chaos, like a little bit of randomness. A player like Ginger, for example, kind of famously like hates Fountain. He like talks about it constantly, and I feel like that lines up with his kind of like not straightforward, but like very logical play style. So Chem kind of jump into Fountain whenever he gets the chance. First shows a bit about kind of who he is as a Fox main.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. Seems like he's down to get a little crazy with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on that last stock, an SD came out from Chem, which down 2-1 in the set already is not what you want to see, but he does get the jab up smash. Let's see if Chem can force a game 5.
I mean, the thing I will say is prior to this set, I was feeling like this would be pretty convincingly a Swift victory. Like, even though Chem was looking really, really, really solid and polished against J-Flex, and I feel while I've been watching this, it feels a lot closer than I would have expected. Like, it feels like Chem has a very, very real chance of turning this around, even down a game, even kind of with his tournament life on the line.
Definitely a high octane enough player to make a comeback like this, but we'll see if it actually happens. Okay.
I feel like every time I'm handing this stuff to Chillin's like, nah, man. Like, I don't know what you're seeing. Nah, like there's no way. I'm sorry. Like,
I mean, it's certainly doable. Oh no, yeah.
nah.
It felt pretty tough for Chem in that position for sure, but obviously very nicely done from Swift, who is moving into losers finals against another Fox, Zuppy.
That's the Chillin experience, If you've been in the game long enough, you're like, listen, sit down, kid. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not going that way.
You can kind of feel out a set at a certain point
Exactly.
after seeing / playing enough tournament sets yourself, and that one felt pretty decided. Pretty much as soon as that SD happened in game 4, on a Chem side, it felt like Swift was going to take it, and that is what we ended up seeing. The 3-1, obviously great run from Chem to get into the bracket and a solid showing in 4th place. We did see that very dominant 3-0 over J-Flex beforehand. But Swift, after the reverse 3-0 on Aklo, now takes out Chem 3-1 and moves into, once again, losers finals against Zup.